Countries with the highest motorbike usage. Motorbikes can be defined as these bad boys down here. In 15th and 14th place, we have some South American countries, Colombia and Argentina. Then Tunisia, Italy, Egypt, and Brazil. Italy is actually the only European country on this chart. Then we have the Philippines, Nigeria, Pakistan. As the bar begins to go higher and higher up, India is just barely beating out Pakistan, and China is above India. Finally, the top 4 nations in motorbike usage are Malaya, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand. But it's all relatively close. This is also percentages, by the way. 87% of households in Thailand use a motorbike, which kind of makes sense. Man, I kind of want a motorbike. These are some of the craziest traffic videos I've ever seen. It's just kind of like a free-for-all, but you know what? There's never any accidents. Well, there probably is accidents, but I've never seen them. Look how skilled everyone is. I don't think I'm on this level yet. Imagine Tesla autopilot here. Impossible challenge. It's like on Dark Souls difficulty. Countries where it is illegal to spank/smack children. I actually didn't realize that there were so many countries that passed laws like this, but that's probably because I live in North America, and almost no countries here have passed those. Compared to South America, where almost all the countries have, except for Chile, Colombia, Ecuador. Even Britain seems to be divided on this subject. England and Northern Ireland hasn't passed anything, but Scotland and Wales have. Even in Asia, there's a divide. We have Japan and South Korea, then there's Mongolia and Nepal. The Brothers of Oceania are not unanimous about this. New Zealand has, but Australia hasn't. Of course, this map is just showing who has passed a law. Who knows what each law details in each one of these countries? Maybe there could be something fishy, like you can't open hand slap them, but maybe you could backhand them. I don't know if that's... I guess I should have said, like, you can't close fist. It does say specifically spank and smack, though. This must be kind of difficult to enforce, unless, like, the schools find out. Which bodies of water have had the most shipwrecks? Based on the last 300 recorded shipwrecks as of February 11, 2023, there was a shipwreck on February 11th? Maybe that's just when they stopped recording data. Oh, no, there really was! Maps include 42 bodies of water with 2 or more shipwrecks. How often are shipwrecks still happening? Okay, clearly I think I'm not understanding the true power of the ocean, because it's happening almost every single day. I don't know, for some reason when you say shipwreck, I'm just thinking like an old wooden ship. It's almost always cargo ships going down. This map is showing us exactly which location has the most shipwrecks as of recently. Of course, completely unsurprisingly, number 1 is the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, it's pretty massive, and there's probably a lot of cargo ships going back and forth between the Americas and the Eastern Hemisphere. Probably a great time to mention the rogue wave phenomenon. The most extreme ever recorded was in 2020 when a 58-foot wave randomly sent a buoy flying. Here it is, just chilling, having a good old time, and then all of a sudden it just goes off the charts. It's what? Alright, I'm never getting in a boat again. Behind the Atlantic Ocean, the second spot with most shipwrecks is the South China Sea. Is that caused by the ocean, or is there maybe some human involvement there? Number 3 is actually the Black Sea in 13. I think it's safe to say there's definitely some human involvement there. There's just a whole lot going on in that area. Interesting that the Pacific Ocean, the biggest ocean we have, is actually tied in 3rd with the Black Sea. All this water, and yet there's only been 13 shipwrecks here, which maybe shouldn't be all that surprising since there's probably not a whole lot of ships moving over here. It's just too much water. I mean, they probably do have a lot of ships, but I don't know. They're going along the coast. I think we can confirm that actually. There seems to be a lot more traffic moving through the Western Hemisphere to the Eastern Hemisphere. There's really not a whole lot going on between South America and Australia and New Zealand. There is a good amount of activity going from the western side of the US to like Alaska, but it's still nowhere near as crazy as East Asia. You can kind of see there is a lot of traffic in the South China Sea. Well, and especially here too. Maybe it shouldn't be surprising the Black Sea is in 3rd. There's a lot of yellow dots right there. Pretty much that map is going to directly correlate with the amount of shipwrecks. Obviously the high traffic areas are going to have more disasters happen. Really trying to figure out what happened to these 2 ships in the Mississippi River. Seems to be pretty inland. How often are there shipwrecks still in rivers? I mean, I guess I see a couple of rivers here and there. It's not exactly that much of a concern though compared to the bays, gulfs, and seas. I don't know why I thought like ships were like 100% safe nowadays. I didn't think I had to be worried about being in the Titanic 2.0. I mean, I doubt any of these were anywhere close to the Titanic, but I'm just saying. I wonder how many of these ships were really that giant too. A lot of them could have been really tiny. As of recently, there are 45,000 more people living in the red areas than the blue. Now this is just really interesting to me because so often you see California as the #1 most populated state, and it's really not even close. California's 10 million more than Texas. But I think we all forget the, what do they call it? A megapolis. Basically that's forming in the East Coast. I mean, when you connect parts of Maine, Boston, Manhattan, New York, a lot of New York actually, all of Jersey, Delaware, all the way down to North Carolina, there's actually a ton of people living here. Like I said, it's very easy to forget that because all these people are usually divided by the small states. The Northeast has significantly smaller smaller states than the West Coast, but there's roughly 50 million people that live here, and that's some high population density as well. I think this map really also just shows that no one really lives in Nevada, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Wyoming, and Alaska, although we do have our own mega regions over here as well. It just doesn't compare to the Northeast. Here's a map of all the uncontacted tribes left in the world. Interestingly enough, they all seem to be along the equator as well. Why would I not expect that? I feel like it'd be more likely they'd be around the poles. I think the most famous of them all, North Centennial Island, which is right here by the Andaman Islands. I have, however, heard about these several uncontacted tribes throughout the Amazon rainforest. I mean, we still don't really know what's going on behind that Amazon rainforest. And honestly, like, will we ever? I've heard that we're trying to use sonar to figure out what's going on at the depths of the Amazon, but this is just so much territory to cover. It's probably easier to map out the bottom of all the oceans. And there possibly still could be some uncontacted tribes in the Congo. Many people have been contacted infrequently over the last century, but it's believed that there are still many more uncontacted tribes. And finally, there's Malaysia, and then a lot of areas in Papua New Guinea. Is that where they ate that one guy? Michael Rockefeller. Yeah, he got eaten, or we don't know. We don't know. I actually did not realize just how many uncontacted people there still are out there. I guess this is why they're all by the equator and not by the poles. Human settlements that have no settlements further north with a greater population. It's just a lot easier to not live this far up. So New York City is actually the largest settlement without any other human settlements further up. Why did I say it like that? That makes it seem like there are aliens out there. And that is because there are not that many people living in Canada. Then we have Tokyo, Japan with 37 million. Seoul is actually the biggest in this part of Asia. Surprisingly, not much out of Manchuria. There are some very small villages in really northern Russia with only a couple thousand people. Russia actually has a lot of places making this list here. And then unsurprisingly, the Nordics as well. Norway controls these islands. Not even 2,000 people live there. What is this Alert 65? Are you saying that there's actually a place called Alert? Oh yes, there is, and it's in Nunavut. It's the northernmost continuously inhabited place in the world. Oh, so they just live there permanently. It's not like a base or something. Well, maybe it is a base or something, but man, they've got some cool cars up there. This just seems like a very scary place to live. It is just so far up there. So I guess a better way to look at this map is to go in order from least humans to more, and that's how it bounces down to like places with millions of people. Now on the complete other side of the globe, the map isn't quite as interesting because there's just a lot less landmass down here. Of course, there's the South Pole Station with 150 people living in it, and there's a second station with 1,000. Then the plots are pretty much just going to bounce in between Chile, Argentina, New Zealand, and Australia. The Rio Grande in Argentina has almost 100,000 people. Then it kind of exchanges back and forth a couple times. To get to the Oceania part, you have to get to hundreds of thousands of people. So New Zealand has 2, and then we have Melbourne, Australia with 4.92 million, and then finally Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo, Brazil. Which countries have been female-led? And the place with the most female leaders since 1946 is actually Finland. Or wait, is it Switzerland? They look even darker. Yeah, Switzerland's had 5 and Finland has had 4. Problem is, does Switzerland actually count since they usually have several different people that work together to make decisions? Then India, Poland, Lithuania, the UK, and Iceland with 3 female leaders. Norway, Ireland, Denmark, the other Baltic states, France, they've had 2, as well as Argentina has had 2. And then in yellow is they've had at least 1. Wait, who's the one for Canada? I didn't even know that. Kim Campbell from 1993? Seems like there might be a lot of asterisks here. Number of laser incidents on aircrafts in the US. And as you can see, this is becoming more and more of a problem. There's been reported almost 10,000 laser attacks as of 2021 and 2022. Oh, maybe laser strikes is a better word. It's actually a federal crime to aim a laser at an aircraft. The state with the most of these is California, obviously, with 14,000, and then it pretty much goes down by population there, although there are some outliers. Washington seems to be pretty high with 2,300. Meanwhile, New York is only at 2,000. Tennessee also pretty high. Is this similar to how the Chinese Coast Guard laser pointed at the Filipino boat? Some of these lasers can be pretty powerful. Here's a better way to look at it with average yearly laser incidents per 100,000 people. So there's actually an abnormal amount in Hawaii, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona. Those places have not as much population, so they shouldn't be having this many incidents. It really seems like it's a West Coast problem. The World Baseball Classic just wrapped up. Here's a summary of how it went down over the last several years. Japan won in 2006. The runner-up was Cuba. The US, Mexico, Puerto Rico, some of them eliminated in second round. Meanwhile, these countries were eliminated in the first round. In 2009, the winner was also Japan. Runner-up was Korea, South Korea that is. US ended up making it to the semifinals there. Meanwhile, again, ended early in the second round. Also, similar countries ended in the first round. Italy squeezed into play. In 2013, the winner was the Dominican Republic. Runner-up was Puerto Rico. I always forget just how much the Caribbean loves baseball until this World Baseball Classic. Eliminated in the semifinals, Japan and the Netherlands. Once again, US just can't get there. Italy got to the second round though. This is the first time we had eliminated eliminated in qualifiers, though. A lot more places participated. Finally, 2017, America won for their greatest pastime, and we beat our own territory of Puerto Rico. That seems evil. Once again, Japan was still up there. Israel got pretty high as well. Finally, 2023, Japan wins again. Runner-up, the USA. Mexico got pretty far into the semifinals. So did Australia and Italy here. Then we had a lot of people eliminated in the first round and then eliminated in the qualifiers. Even more people are participating. France, Germany, Spain, Brazil, Pakistan, New Zealand. So it seems like this is getting bigger and bigger every year. It's like the World Cup for baseball, except I feel like the region is definitely limited. Soccer or football is just a lot more popular worldwide. I have to admit, I'm not really a big MLB fan at all, but I do like to watch the World Baseball Classic. I like that there are countries and stuff, obviously. And big thanks to my patrons. Drew, I forgot to kidnap you. Next date is March 19th, 2023 at 6:30
Boy, do I love Arby's.
Drew's Eritrean grandma.
Portugal is not
Drew's
Balkans.
Argentinian
$20
grandpa.
is a lot, Drew.
aPhatNarwhal.
Bryton is the
Caleb,
best.
the
The
Mexican
Mexican
760.
GoodOldRyah.
Jack Traven's annoying friend.
JohnDenver,
KirinoIsBestGirl.
LuxembourgLover.
Phresh
Phresh
Animations.
Animations.
RyeThePie.
Polish-Lithuanian
The Great
Commonwealth.
Commonwealth. Thwick and
Carmel
Hamster.
and ZaneyBoi.